Okay, it's 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central, and glad to have all of you who've joined us today. I hope that you'll find that it's time well spent. And again, Dennis Reiner with Golden Care. I'm joined by Carl Fisher. Carl may be running a little bit late because he is on Arizona time and he had another call, but Carl is going to be with us, and of course, Corey Fountain. Many of you know Corey. She does a tremendous job for us, and so she is my co-pilot today as we go through and talk a little bit about this AFEUSA CHUBB lifetime benefit term. You know, it's one of the, oftentimes when you have a prize that comes your way that has some unique characteristics, you get really excited, and this AFEUSA CHUBB product is just one of those. So let's go ahead, Corey, as we jump in, and I know you're going to drive some of this as it relates to the participation. And Carl is a longtime friend. Carl basically brought us an opportunity to get involved with the CHUBB product, and so I want to lay a little bit of the foundation here in terms of what we're going to talk about, kind of the landscape, if you will, in terms of just some of the statistics that I think often that you know and have seen. We kind of rehash these a lot of times, and I think sometimes everyone's so familiar that they don't actually really think about the meaning of 70% of people requiring some type of care and 90% married couples. And the one that really stands out to me is the fact that 90% of adults have not really even taken the time to plan ahead. And during COVID, we faced that isolation where a survey was done by AARP at the time, and it said that 61% of people said they'd rather die than go into a nursing home. And so there's been a paradigm shift in the marketplace, and part of that shift is we've seen, Corey, as we kind of go to the next visual and talk a little bit about this shift, if you will. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot these slides kind of get layered in. But the shifting market is that as we look at where the long-term care landscape has been, and we go back about 20 years, our average buying age at that time was about 72, and we were having no problem with placement rates. But now, as we look at the solutions that are there, from traditional solutions like Mutual of Omaha, National Guardian Life, Thrivent, the hybrids, we look at what we've done, as many of you know, in the short-term care space. Think of it like a puzzle that just kind of comes together. All these different pieces play a role, and it's nice to have more solutions versus less solutions. And so the missing piece in all of this has been what we're going to talk about today, which is this AFEUSA CHUBB product, and how it actually fits as another arrow in your quiver, if you will, in addition to having the standout short-term care products that we have and the standout home health care products. But the CHUBB's got some unique characteristics. And so before we get into the product itself, we're going to talk a little bit about why there's this AFEUSA. It's the Association for Entrepreneurs, and CHUBB, basically through this relationship that we have with Carl, CHUBB basically for the first time ever took their group certificate, their lifetime benefit term, and they basically wrapped it within an association wrapper. So think of it like Costco. You can't just walk into Costco and start buying stuff. You have to actually have a membership. And so that's the same here. Yes.
Oh, just checking. You went silent there for a minute.
Oh,
just checking. You went silent there for a minute. Keep going. You're fine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad I wasn't talking to myself. So the association, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You just have to consider that you want to be an entrepreneur, and you're going to see here that the association is it's your ticket to get access to the CHUBB product, and it's very inexpensive. The association itself is only $4.99 a month, and we got some information on that. And by the way, this deck that we're going through, you'll get a copy of this deck. But there is, you know, the association makes all of this possible. And if you look at this kind of gig economy of so many people, you know, CHUBB felt comfortable kind of wrapping this project around this association. So as I said, it's a non-commissionable $4.99. And with that, for those of you that have had the opportunity to play around with this, the membership also includes, sometimes memberships include really, you know, fluffy benefits like, oh, discounts on car rental and so on. But here you actually get, separate from the CHUBB product itself, MetLife, a decreasing term of $10,000 and a decreasing AD&D benefit. So obviously, depending upon the age that you are at, but that's included in that $4.99. So it's really a nice added value, and there's lots of other member benefits that we're not going to actually take the time because we want to jump into the to the product. So Corey, let's kind of continue on and talk a little about this product. So it's a lifetime benefit term to age 121, and it's also comes with an LTC, a true 7702B rider. Now, the great thing about this CHUBB price, which is the 4% to drawdown off of the face amount, is that you've got a variety of benefit levels. We're going to come back and talk about this 10,000 in a little bit more detail because that's brand new. So the 25,000, 50, 75,000 is kind of the first tier when you think about plan design. The second tier is 100,000, 125, 150. And so when they draw down, and let's just say that someone purchased a $100,000 face and they became able to be benefit eligible because the 2 out of 6 ADLs are a cognitive impairment after a 90-day elimination, they then can get $4,000 a month for 25 months until they exhaust the life insurance benefit. But one of the things that you're going to see that's unique about the CHUBB is that you can split the baby, so to speak, which is to say that you don't have to draw down the complete 4%. You could say I want to keep $50,000 of my life insurance benefit and only draw down then $2,000 a month for long-term care. So CHUBB gives you a lot of flexibility with this. The ratings, of course, with CHUBB, they're arguably probably the largest publicly traded insurance company with over $200 billion in assets. But the nice thing is with this product is that you only pay to age 100, and so the coverage does terminate at age 121. But let's go a little bit further, Corey, so we can talk about this in comparing the 10,000, 25, and 50,000, 75,000 face first, and then I'll come back to the questions here on the 100,000, 125, 150. So in order to be eligible for benefits ages 19 to 70, there's only one question. So it's conditionally guaranteed issue, and that question is, are you working 30 hours a week? Now, that doesn't matter if you're a 1099 or a W-2. The point is that's how CHUBB, because this is really a worksite long-term care product that CHUBB writes somewhere between 80 and 100 million a year of premium that they're making available down to one individual life. Think about that. And that criteria for getting coverage is so amazing. Why this is important is when we were talking about those puzzle pieces and we were talking about Nationwide and One America, some of the great hybrid life with long-term care products that are out there, but oftentimes underwriting becomes problematic. And when CHUBB has basically a conditionally guaranteed issue, it makes it very attractive. The second tier is the 100,000, 125, 150, but there's 4 additional questions. And they're not really underwriting questions, they're more work-related questions, such as, has the employee missed more than 5 consecutive days? Now, when we're talking about employee, we're talking about individual here because that's just how the product was filed because it's a worksite product. But we're talking about an individual due to an illness or injury in the past 3 months. Has the proposed insured been treated in a medical facility, hospitalized or disabled in the past 6 months, excluding flu or cold? And hospitalization, hospitalized means inpatient or outpatient, whether or not confined, treated in a medical facility, does not include a regular physician's office visit. Then there's the AIDS question, question C, fairly common. Then the last is D. Has any person, spouse, proposed for coverage been seen or treated by a licensed physician or other medical practitioner within the past 6 months, excluding flu, cold, or routine physical? Now, the way the product is filed, this is an up or down, yes or no. So you as the agent have to, be somewhat of a field underwriter here. And if someone says, hey, I go to the dermatologist, for example, I just had my annual dermatology appointment this morning, and, they're checking your whole parts of your body, and, and I do that actually twice a year. That's really routine. That's not something that's a concern, and I could answer no to that question. But if it was, if I had been diagnosed with cancer and I'm ongoing continuing cancer treatment, then I would have had to say yes. So if you say yes to any of those 4 questions, it precludes you from getting the higher levels of 100,000, 125, or 150, but it does not preclude you from getting the 75,000, 50,000, 25,000, or all the way down to 10,000. So there is some discretion, and there is no APSing, there's no phone interview, there's no asking for a face-to-face. So you have to really be careful how you answer those questions and making sure that the client can actually say no, or you're going to be relegated to that first tier levels of 10, 25, 50, 75,000. So Corey, that's a little bit of the overview. When we are talking to agents, that's really important for them to understand that. I understand also that the coverage is portable. It's, again, life insurance premiums will never increase and are guaranteed to age 100. After 100, there's no premium due, and coverage terminates at 121. It's permanent and guaranteed renewable. There is that long-term care rider that we talked about. And so these are just some of the rules of the road that you should know about this product. It's extremely simple. Although not on this particular webinar today, at a future opportunity, Corey does an amazing job of actually walking people through the association platform and the ease of enrolling in under 5 minutes. And in many cases, you can also exercise the ability to have a link, which is a self-enrollment link, where the client does not have to sign and the agent doesn't have to sign. And that's all done within in under a 5-minute timetable. So there's really only one moving part that you're going to see that's a rider. So unlike traditional long-term care, where you have a lot of riders, a lot of choices, and even within the hybrid space, where things can be a little bit more complicated and confusing, the nice thing about the lifetime benefit term with CHUBB is there's just one rider, and that's a child rider. And so let's talk a little bit about that. I think that might be, Corey, as we move on to the next visual, I think that might be what we're going to talk about here. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25,000, those are the face amounts. And the monthly premium that you see, the monthly rates, the $209 for 5,000 all the way up to $10.46. That's for any dependent children under the age of 26. Now, it does not matter if you are talking to a client that says, hey, my name is Philip Rivers. I play for the San Diego Chargers. I've got 7 kids, as an example. Well, you would only pay the one rate, $10.46. If you only had one child, you'd still pay $10.46. That's amazing. And this coverage converts at 5 times the face amount at age 26 to permanent coverage. We get people being defined as agents who are working with clients who maybe the clients were not as enamored, saying, hey, I don't really need the additional coverage, but they'll buy the CHUBB product even at the lowest levels to get access to that child rider because they may have some impaired risks at home that they're concerned about, and they'd like their kids to have coverage. And so if someone even bought the lowest plan level of 10,000, they could add on that child rider, whether they've got 1, 2, 3, or more kids. It's one flat rate. It's pretty amazing, and it's darn inexpensive, and it's the only rider that is on this particular product. So Corey, let's go ahead and go a little more forward, and just a couple other things you should know. that the paid-up benefits, there is some paid-up value if they stop with after paying and having the plan in force for 10 years. There's a terminal illness rider. Here's the thing that you need to be most concerned about, and we're going to show you a little bit later a dedicated website. But we're not everywhere with CHUBB. Now, CHUBB on the big Worksite side of the house, they're in virtually all states. But because this is tied to an association wrapper, if you will, we're in 28 states. But the states listed below are states that we're not available in. And we'll go a little bit later when we take you to the dedicated website. But you'll see it here again. But we'll also show you one more time in the website. But I want you to focus on some states that will stand out. California, Florida, New Jersey, Connecticut. If we just go back to that map for a quick second, Corey, we don't have short-term care solutions. We don't have home care solutions in those particular states. And so this is a product, and we always hear this from agents who are so frustrated that they say, I love your short-term care solutions that you have, or I love your home care solutions, but I live in Florida. And now you have an opportunity to take this, take advantage of the CHUBB product in states maybe where normally we would not have another solution. Of course, you have the hybrids, you have traditional long-term care in those states, but short-term care and home care are typically excluded from states like California, Florida, New Jersey, Connecticut, and so on. So that's just something that you should be aware of. Corey, let's go ahead and continue on. So Roxanne Herman, who works with the consulting group that we have this relationship with, couldn't be on the call today. But any of you who are listening in who have wanted to be in the group market or are already in the group market, the nice thing is we actually have a separate enrollment platform just for groups. It goes all the way down. We said 5 lives earlier, but it actually goes all the way down to 1 life. So let's pretend that you are working with a client that happens to own 3 dry cleaning locations that has 10 employees. So you can have an opportunity to go down to 1 life for list bill. And we have a whole turnkey program with the assistance of a dedicated team that will help you if you have individuals that are candidates in the small business owner marketplace. You know, CHUBB typically doesn't want to, on the big work site, get involved unless it's about 250 employees on up. And that's how it is with most of the other carriers who play in that sandbox, the big sandbox, whether it's Transamerica, Allstate Benefits, or Trustmark, in addition to CHUBB. But here's an opportunity that it allows you to open up maybe some prospecting opportunities for some small business owners. And we talk about less than 1,000. I really think the sweet spot is if you can find opportunities for under 100 employees. I think that's an untapped market when it comes to adding in a life with long-term care benefit. So that's just something you should be aware of. And again, those that are interested, please reach out to Golden Care on the marketing side, and we'll get you additional information on how that works in the Worksite, and we can connect you to our team that does that specifically. So a couple things just to highlight in summary on the product is that you're combining the life insurance and long-term care into one policy. Those that I mentioned earlier have been turned down for traditional long-term care. You get to above 60, and it's really hard to place coverage. It's a 50-50 situation of approval versus declines, whether it's a hybrid, traditional. Again, someone may have had existing 10, 20, 30-year term that expired, and they're looking to replace that coverage. So there's all kinds of motivation here that you can find. That we just listed some items here that will help you. There's a few more that we can go through that talk about why you want to combine this link product. So as Corey scrolls down, as we get those on there, one of the ones I really want to highlight is the Washington Trust, because CHUBB has told us if other states come on, let's say Pennsylvania, Minnesota, similar to Washington, then CHUBB will add additional states as part of that state approval. But remember, one of the big advantages with the life insurance chassis is that we all know eventually, everyone has an expiration, right? We all know that we're all going to pass at some point, and that life insurance it's a wise product to have, and that not everyone feels they're going to need long-term care, but the idea that you can have both, and then you don't have to worry about a use it or lose it situation. So just wanted to highlight some things that most of you would know that seem to be common sense, but just in case, as other motivation to talk to some of your clients who might be candidates for this particular product. So, Corey, I think at this point, you know, all the things that they need, such as outline of coverage and everything, is going to be on the dedicated website that we have, that you'll be able to get a chance to navigate on your own. We're going to just point out to it, and maybe Corey will point out just a couple items as we have the opportunity to see it. I want to just tell you about, you know, something that has been, we think, a game changer. And this is, again, we've had the opportunity to work with our consulting group that brought us this opportunity, where CHUBB had agreed to actually have one more offering, which was to go down to 10,000 face amount. So I got really excited about this and thought, you know, let me just play around and let me look at some final expense products and just see how it compares. I got with our internal team, marketing led by Lynn Voss, and Lynn put together a great visual to kind of highlight just how strong this CHUBB product is, even if you want to sell it at the lowest level. And again, this is going to factor in even paying the association fee. So take a look at this. A 60-year-old, if we go to the far right first, most final expenses are anywhere from an issue age of 45 or 50 up to age 85. And they're typically gender-based pricing. Remember that CHUBB has the advantage of being unisex rates. And if you just look at, and this is one of the major players in the industry, a player that everyone would know if I were to tell you who it was because it's a household name. The male rate is $43 a month. The female rate is $42.51. And a 65-year-old rate is $56.48 and $41.01. If you look to the far left and look at CHUBB, look at what the CHUBB rate is. $31.78 for the 60-year-old and $47.16. And what do you get in addition to, if you wanted to treat this product like a final expense? You got the 4% drawdown for LTC. What's the other advantage that you have? Remember those AFE members benefits, the 10,000 decreasing term with MetLife and the 10,000 decreasing AD&D benefit. But also remember that final expense typically is capped at 25,000 mark. Some of the carriers may go a little higher, and some of the carriers may not have the GI component. It might be more simplified underwriting. And so here you have with CHUBB just that one question: you're working 30 hours a week. And so again, you also have the fact that the CHUBB price is paid up at age 100. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't sell final expense, but what I am saying to you is that you might find a way to sell both a final expense and the CHUBB and layer both in. I don't think we'll get into this visual here, Corey, because it kind of gets into the group side. So maybe we just go, and if you'd be kind enough to maybe pull up that My Care Protection site, and we can just kind of navigate through that.
So we've put together this. Yeah, we've put together this My Care Protection site that has all the assets that you would ever need and more for the CHUBB product. So if you go over here, we've got sales and marketing materials to help you sell it. Got the classic membership benefits here. We've got a whole video collection of how to sell that Dennis has put together. We've got marketing assets for agents and marketing assets for consumers. So we've got everything on this page in one convenient spot for you to download anything that you need to start selling CHUBB. So if you go over to product information and individual association, we've got state availability. These are the rates going all the way down to 10,000. As Dennis said, they've just added this 10,000 in here. And then down here, we've got the product highlights, forms for enrollments, like I say, just everything that you need to sell. Step-by-step how to enroll, the classic membership benefits for your client, brochure, state availability. Here's the rate guide. So this is such an easy product that it has the rate guide. You give your client the rates and the brochure and the details and enroll them in 5 minutes. It's taking a little bit of time because we're online here for this to come up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Corey, I didn't mean to cross over you, but I wanted to tell a quick little story. So thank you for pulling that rate. So go down to where you see where it's 41, age 41, and it's $950 a month. I want to tell you a quick story. 2 days ago, my son Joe just changed to a different employer. He was going through his open enrollment for his benefits, and so he's telling me all the things he's gonna, load up. He's got 4 kids, and so one of the things was that they had juvenile coverage for kids, like of $10,000, and so he told me what the rate was, and the rate wasn't excessive. But I shared with him, I said, listen, I said, we have a product that goes all the way down to $10,000. It's $9.50 a month. If you wanted to put all 4 of your kids on the child rider at $25,000, the top end, that would convert 5 times to $125,000 at age 26, it would cost you a total of $10.46 a month. So literally, for a little over $20 a month, he would have a $10,000 benefit, and his kids would be covered at much more of an inexpensive manner than what he would pay through his employer. So, Corey, I just wanted to point that out because obviously, as the agents play around with this and they see different rates, they might see their own personal situations where they think how attractive this is. We've had a number of agents actually buy the CHUBB product because they wanted to have coverage again for their kids, and also just because it was attractive for them, maybe because they had some health issues that precluded them from getting some of the other solutions we talked about. Back to you.
Okay, so when you receive the email after this webinar, we'll include this My Care Protection page and several assets to help get you going. It's an easy product to sell. It really fits that niche if you've got declines, especially in Florida and California and those states that don't have anything else. This product really has a niche and is really taking off to fill that gap for people that don't have any other options. And that's all about all that I've got. Carl is on the call too. Carl, did you want to chime in? Carl, did you get on?
I was on mute.
I thought I saw him get on. Apparently not.
You did a fabulous job, Dennis.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Carl, welcome. We just kind of raced past you. I was going to pull you in during the course of the webinar, but glad that you're able to listen.
I didn't want to ruin your momentum. You did a great job. Well spoken. The only slight correction I'll cite is on the MetLife that is embedded in the association membership. The AD&D benefit is level actually for all years up to age 80 when it expires. Not a big deal, but I'm just pointing that out. You did a great job and explaining it perfect, and I certainly could have done as well. And I love your site that make it so easy to work with. Just gaining access to this product in one place. All the sales aids you need, guidance. You did a wonderful job. I'm very impressed. Golden Care really, did a one-up here. That's for sure. That's all I got to add. I'm obviously impressed with the child care rider that you accentuated and made note of that, because it really is a sleeper. And of course, going to $10,000, we knew that would probably give some more attraction to this to a broader audience. It's a fabulous plan. It's been around for 10 or 12 years at CHUBB, and obviously they're very happy with it. The rates have been very stable over the entire period of time, and we love it because, yes, with the association, which is a little unique, we have the capability of offering it down to one person. That's what really makes this outstanding. I can't say anything more to add, honestly, but you all have done a fabulous job. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Carl. You know, yeah, I appreciate you and I appreciate those insights. You know, it's interesting because Carl talked about the CHUBB on the Worksite where I said they do 80 to 100 million, but we've been out with this product for about 2.5 years, maybe 3 years, Carl, I think, and I think our placement persistency rate is about 93%. So CHUBB is very happy with this. And Carl, one of the things I did, and thank you for helping me out on that AD&D. I was just,
no big deal.
maybe I just spaced that. But is that for those on this call who are not LTC people, remember, you don't have to be LTC certified to sell this. You just need to be licensed in the state that you're in, and you don't need a non-resident license in any additional states. But that's a big deal for those who are maybe Medicare agents or life agents or annuity agents who are not inclined to go out and get partnership certified. You don't need to be. Sorry, Corey, go ahead.
We've got a question here. Is the minimum for list billing 1 or 5 on Worksite?
I was told by Roxanne that we can now go down to 1.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they want to get a lot of them, Mrs. Burrell, again, at 1, because it's obviously a little more laborious with a list bill. But if you're in a tight squeeze and what have you, and it means getting a sale, especially when you got an employer-funded type plan or something, they will do that. They absolutely will do that. Where we want to accommodate you and get people accustomed to and kind of used to marketing this product, and that's what it takes. They can do it. And again, she regrets she couldn't be on this, but she and her team do a fabulous job to support the list bill of this, which is another unique feature that we also offer. Of course, it can be done ACH and credit card now going forward, but that list bill is another differentiation.
Okay, perfect. That's all we got for questions.
Okay, gosh, you know, we try to keep this concise and to the point, and really appreciate Carl jumping on, and they've been so helpful to us from our relationship and the back office support we get from our CHUBB relationships that we have that run interference on questions that we have. But everything is, when you get a chance, and those of you that are interested in actually seeing a demo, Corey can also, we can provide them, Corey, the sandbox, so they could actually go in on their own. But I would encourage you to let the team at Golden Care know that you'd like to actually set up a demo opportunity to see the platform, because the platform is so easy to navigate, and everything is digital as it relates to what the clients get in terms of having their own ability to go onto the platform, change their beneficiary, change it from credit card to ACH, as Carl indicated. The association spent a substantial amount of money to make this platform so consumer friendly, and I think you'll be very, very impressed. But you know, as it relates to compensation, you'll have to reach out to the marketers, because we don't actually cover that on this particular call.
Hey, Dennis, I got a couple more questions here. First one is, do you need to still work 30 hours a week? Do you need to still work 30 hours a week after age 70?
The answer to that is no. Yeah, I can easily answer that. It's at the time of this enrollment, they need to be proven that they are working 30+ hours a week. Obviously, when they turn 69, or maybe they're 62 when they purchase it, they quit, retire, or what have you, there's no requirement that they continue working after this into the future. Could be a year from now, could be 20 years from now. There's no provision for that.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Carl. All right, next one is, can you pay up with a lump sum? Oops.
No.
Go ahead.
No, incremental payments.
Okay. All right.
So only
all right, thank you.
Monthly is the only mode. The only mode.
Correct.
All right, that's it for questions. I think that's it. Does anybody have anything else? I think that's all we got for questions.
Okay. Well, I would.
Oh, hold on. I got one more.
Well, we did.
Sorry, they're rolling in. Okay, the next question is, how does it qualify for 77028 without inflation protection?
I know it's 77028 qualified. That was a big deal when we engaged with CHUBB on this. I can't answer that specific question. I'm going to defer to the LTC expert, Dennis, and others maybe on that.
Yeah. I don't think it's a criteria that it had to be, because if you look at the worksite price that exists today, most of them out there, similarly, like Trustmark and the CHUBB. And remember, CHUBB's been operating, as Carl said, for 10 or 12 years. It does fall under the definition of being tax qualified, but inflation is always a rider. It's never a built-in benefit. So it may be that CHUBB just elected, as we said earlier, to really simplify the offering, and the only one rider that they had was the child rider. But I'd have to dig in a little bit further, to give you a better explanation. But that is something that obviously the price has existed in its same form for 10 or 12 years. I know some of the other players in the same worksite that are they're selling also without inflation. So there's and some might be a 101G, but there's others that are 7702B as well.
All right, that's it for questions. Thank you guys for answering. I think that's it.
Thank you, Corey. Yeah, I would just encourage those on the call, and thank you everyone for taking time out of your busy schedule, just to look at your existing book of business and look at when you're doing client reviews and looking for when you have clients that fit the profile. And even if they might fit a hybrid with one of the traditional, one of the other carriers that we talked about, we've had situations where I've had an agent tell me that, you know what, my client's an insulin dependent diabetic, they've got this issue, that issue. And yes, if I wanted to go through and get a second APS for their specialist, and if I wanted to do this and that and extend it out for 45 or 50 days, I could probably get them coverage on a rate up. And they elected just to go with CHUBB because it was so darn easy. The client could just answer the question that they were working 30 hours a week, or they could answer the 4 additional questions. So there is an opportunity, as Corey said. It's a niche product, but it's got more legs than you think. And I think if you start looking at this with a new, enhanced way of looking at this as an alternative, maybe, or a companion product to someone who buys final expense. Maybe they buy a $5,000 final expense with XYZ carrier, and they layer in another $10,000 with the CHUBB to get the additional long-term care value. So again, thank you everyone for taking time out of your schedule. Reach out with any other questions. Look for an email as a follow-up. And of course, you've got the Golden Care back office team here to support you in any way, not only with the CHUBB solution, but with any of the other products that we have that we serve you with. So thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your day. And thanks again for taking time out of your schedule to be with us.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you. Thanks, Carl. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Golden Care is always here to serve you with new tools, new products, new ideas, and new innovations, and always the best support in the business to help you succeed. So give us a call at 800-842-7799 and check out our website at www.goldencareagent.com.